Very good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Right. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir.
Let me try, see if I can make you host. Okay. Could you switch on your video?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Okay, I can see you.
Yes.
Try, I can switch on my video as well. Okay, very good. Good. So the video is already live, I see. Welcome everyone who are joining here directly to the conference, to the Zoom, and people who are joining from YouTube and LinkedIn and other channels. This is a success story of Saif Ali Khan, who has done certified data scientist course from Bangalore, classroom batch, August of last year. And he now got selected as a machine learning engineer for iQGateway. You're not yet joined, right, Saif?
Yes, I'll be joining from Monday.
That is great. All right. So I'll start with congratulating Saif. Saif, congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, I'm very happy, glad that you made your first step in your career towards machine learning and data science. Um, before we go forward, I would like to know your profile. So introduce yourself, your profile before you started your journey as a data science towards data science. Right? Please go ahead.
Okay. So my name is Saif Ali Khan, and I belong to Purulia district of West Bengal. There, I did my bachelor's in economics, and after that, I did my master's from there as well. After completing my master's in economics, I came to know about this data science while I was doing my journal in master's. I came across this data science field, and I found that what I was doing in traditional way, I can do that in using technologies. So that led me towards the interest of data science, and taking that interest, I came to Bangalore. I joined DataMites, and there I got the certification as certified data scientist. I also did internship from there, which helped me a lot. The mentors there helped me a lot. They were phenomenal in their phenomenal, and also the PAT team helped me a lot to land in this job.
Okay, wonderful. Good. So there was some internet issue from your side, I guess. I don't know if it's my side, but briefly lost you. But we got most of the story. Okay, so but before we move on, before you started this journey, what was your technical knowledge? How was your Python statistics or any data related skills?
If I talk about the coding part, in my plus two, I had C++ plus plus as one of my one like computer science I had. So in that I studied C++. plus plus. So I had a bit of like the knowledge of coding, but not about Pythons and all. But as soon as I went to my bachelor's and my master's, there I had subjects as statistics, both my master's and bachelor's. So there I learned a lot regarding data and statistics. And there also, while I was doing my journals, there I used R language. So kind of I had basic knowledges of C++ and R, but I was not at all into Python and machine learning. So I came across DataMites, and I came to know about these things, and it was very interesting.
Okay, so you have a bit of background in research. So you had a bit of our exposure already. That will help, right? But
Yes.
you don't have any Python, so you started learning Python. Okay. So after you joined the course, well, how was your learning experience? I would like you to say some in a way that it could help the people who are actually in the learning or but trying aspiring to become or join this course. So what are the difficulties you faced? What are the materials you have read apart from what is provided for DataMites or even what's provided in DataMites? How was useful? Please go ahead.
Okay. Sir, as I told that I had no knowledge about Python and machine learning, so it was quite interesting to start with. So Python, I came across that it was the amount of Python required for data science is not that difficult. It's kind of very basic and easy to learn. So it will not trouble the students much while learning Python. But coming to statistics and machine learning, which I found very interesting, and it the like if anyone wants to go ahead in data science field, then statistics, machine learning, and deep learning is one thing that anyone can explore infinite ways. Like what I used to do when I used to go to DataMites mentors, whatever the mentors teach me, then after the class ends, I used to study there a lot. I used to sit there. I used to find data in Kaggle. I used to build projects from there. Then I used ChatGPT a lot in my learnings. I used to ask ChatGPT to ask me some questions or give me some problem cases so that I can solve. So using these things, I dived into the data science field, and it gave me a lot of knowledge regarding this field.
You keep mentioning that machine learning is very interesting, very interesting. What do you find really interesting about machine learning?
So when I used to study my master's and bachelor's, there we used to do time series forecasting. So there we used to only tackle with the time series data, and we need to do forecasting, which was quite. I understood that based on the previous data, it is forecasting things. But when I came here and I learned about the predictive things, I can see that if I am giving some new data, it is predicting very well. Like I made one stock prediction analysis, and the prediction was so accurate. I was amazed with that. So I found that kind of using machine learning, we can do a lot of things. We can solve a lot of problems.
So you trade.
Yeah.
Okay, so a bit of warning from my side. AI and data science, or AI, at least in Indian market, it's very tricky. So there are a lot of people who have done many models. In fact, there are a lot of companies trying to come up with the models. They were not very successful. So, but yes, it is definitely better than simple time series, because simple time series uses ARIMA model, right? That's what the traditional
Yeah.
model is. If we come to ML, we can use RNNs, which are much more sophisticated. It can learn many patterns apart from simply looking at the averages and stuff. Very good. Okay. So how was your phase two? The phase two, the live sessions, right? Who was your mentor? How was your phase two learning? How much time you spent on a daily basis?
Yeah. So as I told, like in the starting, Sia ma'am taught us Python, and it was very very easy to go. Like Sia ma'am was very good with Python, so she taught us very in with every basic things she used to teach, and I was able to understand everything in the class itself. So what I do after the class was to do research of my own and get to know something more about that. And then coming to statistics, Priyanshu sir taught us statistics, and where he was very good with that, uh, coming up with the statistical knowledges, statistical formulas like the central tendencies, the measure of dispersions. So these kind of things, like his teaching in such a good way that students concentrating in the class would be able to understand it very well. And then from the machine learning to deep learning, Yashas had taught us, and he was phenomenal. Like every time I used to go to him, and every time I used to gain some more knowledge. Like every time I used to learn something new. So it was quite interesting. And every time, even after the class, when I used to do something research of my own, I used to do something new of myself. Even though I stuck somewhere, I used to go to the mentors, and they tell me everything that is required to do in that.
Have you practiced in other platforms like Kaggle? Have you done any Kaggle projects while you are learning in phase two?
Yes, I did a lot of Kaggle projects. Like every day, I used to download a new data, and within 2 3 days, I used to build it. And every time, whenever I used to go to Kaggle, the first day that I used to do, I used to see the models that the previous people have done. I used to see the different approaches that I've done. So then after, if I'll go through the approaches, I'll surely get something new from there. And if there's something that I'm not able to understand, the mentors is to help me. So I think a lot of Kaggle exploration I've done in my learning career.
I personally find Kaggle really effective for the learners because it's not just your solution. You also have many other point of views, many other people would have posted their things, and
Yes,
just going through those code base, you not only learn different types of Python usage, but also you learn different approaches in terms of processing the data, fitting the models, sometime a code snippet which is more effective than your way of doing it. So as Saif said, I highly suggest learners to do as many projects as in Kaggle. Don't get
yes,
lost because Kaggle is a very vast resource. If you learn something today, let's say you learn a classification model, for example, right? You try to use a classification model in the Kaggle projects, and also like look at the other things, right? It does make sense, Sayef. Is that what you have done?
yes, sir, yes, exactly.
Okay. So after you completed your phase two, which is a live session, the phase three, right? May I ask what's your job ready score?
So it was
You
5.8.
okay? So most people are between 5.8 to 6 nowadays. That's very good.
Yeah.
So how was your phase three? How was your internships? How was your projects? Who are your project buddies?
So, sir, my project buddies were very supportive. We had three other people, including me. We were four people in my group. In the like internship phase, I would say that the projects that we got. So, what my team was like, we used to find something that is new, and there are some people who are like let's if there is four projects, let's take two easy and two difficult so that it can balance the things. This is how we went with the internship phase. And the life session in the life project also, we take the company ITSM management, which was quite challenging for us, and I was very happy to do that.
Okay. So I see from your resume that ITSM was your live project, right? So you worked on the
Yes,
ticket classification,
yes.
right? Okay, good. So after you completed your phase three, how was your journey towards interviews? How many interviews you attended before you crack
It
your
was iQGateway was my third company.
as kind of average? So most people have pre and third they crack. So obviously you will learn something from the first two interviews, right? Could you
Yes,
share those learnings?
yes. In my first interview, I went to Trinity Mobility. So it was my first face-to-face interview, and I was quite nervous there. But the questions they asked there was a basic of machine learning and all. So I was after a couple of minutes, I was comfortable and I was able to answer. I don't know what went wrong, but I was not selected there. Then when I went to Verse Innovations, and in Verse Innovations, I was not able to crack the assessment because there they asked some questions from LLM, and I was not aware of that. So from these two interviews, I came to know that upscaling is a very important thing. So as I was rejected from Verse Innovations, I went and studied LLMs and NLPs. And from Trinity, where I learned that we used to like giving creative answer helps more.
Creative answer.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by creative answer?
Like something, suppose just I want to share one question. Like he asked me that how you impute the null values. So what I used to do, I used to impute the null values, seeing the distribution, and used to impute using mean, median, and mode. So while exploring, I found that it is we can use KNN imputers and different things also. So I think that while if interviewer asks of how to impute null values and all, instead of giving a straightforward answers of imputing using mean, median, mode, I think it would be very interesting if we suggest some new ideas. Like if we
So
these
if
values will be same.
we
Yes, sir.
lost you for like few seconds. Could you repeat the last sentence, please?
Yeah. So I was saying if there is 10 null values there, and if we are imputing with mean, median, mode, so the 10 values will be the same. So that would not be like, I think if instead of that, if we use KNN imputer, which uses KNN model, so all the 10 values will be different. So it will be kind of very interesting to then work with that, and the model will learn more new values, and it will be a very good model that we can make.
That's really nice. Okay, so trivial questions. I mean, most of the questions people come up with is that regarding interviews is that what kind of questions people ask, right? And of
Yes,
course, been keep on telling this mostly project kind. I would like to hear from your view, right? Not the questions itself that will be violating the privacy of your employer, right? Just what kind of questions people ask in general, right? From your experience.
yes. So the normally the questions were from projects, uh, and in the projects also, like it depends company to company and interviewer to interviewer. So what happens to me, like uh, in the project questions also, they were asking much about the data pre-processing things, and not much about the model buildings. They asked questions from model buildings, but in some companies they were more into how was the data, how did you do the pre-processings, how did you do the feature engineering, what different techniques that you use for feature engineering, these kind of things. And if we are coming to machine learning things, questions are very normal. They're like asking how to explain the things, which model is better, and that's it.
Okay, so it's mostly on the basic level, right?
Yes,
Apart
yes,
from what you put it on your resume.
yes,
Obviously, people like to know about things on your resume. If you put a project, they will go deep into it. They'll ask, how did you do the data cleaning? How was the model? How did you choose the model? How do you fine tune it? Apart from
yes,
that, most questions are basic. Did you
yes.
did you face any interviews who explicitly asked you to code, like write Python code in the interview?
No, sir.
No, it's okay. How difficult was the statistics questions? Did you face any statistics based questions in interview?
Not in this interview, but in my first interview, I faced some statistics questions, and they were basics, not that much difficult.
Okay. So I want to ask you one more time. What are the other materials you used? So DataMites have a hard copy and other things, and you can say that as well. But
Yes.
what are the other? What is your resource space for learning?
Yeah. So, sir, I must say, like the DataMites, the like the resources from DataMites, they were good. And apart from that, what I used to do, I used to follow some YouTubers in my learning phase. When I was in phase two, I used to follow some YouTubers and also Kaggle, as I said, and the DataMice class and the resources. As I went to phase three, my main intention was to prepare for interview. And in that phase, what I used to do that every day, I used to ask ChatGPT to give me 10 basic machine learning questions, give me 10 data science questions. And as soon as I'm able to answer them all, then I used to ask them, give me some moderate questions, give me some advanced questions. And if there is something that I'm unable to answer, then I used to ask the ChatGPT itself that I'm unable to answer this. Please give me a detailed answer of that. So in that way, I prepared for phase three.
So ChatGPT is the best coach, isn't it?
Yes, yes,
So
it helped
it's
me
all
a lot.
it's really glad. Even I do that, right? When in my level, right? So whatever ChatGPT is like, it can teach to a kindergarten and it can teach to a PhD scholar. So
Yeah, sure,
it is
sure.
so it's very important for others who are looking at it. I mean, it's just I keep repeating this. ChatGPT is a very valuable resource, as Saif has confirmed. You can literally have an interactive discussion with it. You can ask ChatGPT to act like an interviewer, ask the questions and try to answer them, try to ask it to evaluate it. If you don't know the answer, you can ask the answer. And it's a matter of how much time you spent in this process, right? So if you're preparing for interview, you sit at least a couple of hours every day doing this thing and also making notes because whatever you learn, it just going away in the chat GPT. So you make some notes. You might want to refer back to your notes in this process, your older notes when you're learning. And if you keep doing it consistently for a time until you're comfortable, think that is pretty good for your interview preparation. And we are in this world of Gen AI, so you don't need you need the human, of course. I don't strike it out. A lot of people will start arguing with me, but I can tell you that ChatGPT it's really really good. You could actually learn many things from. Okay, so I think we have all any even now. I mean, it's I've been teaching for more than 7 8 years. I often get the same questions. There is no change in the frequently asked questions. Like most people think this is a very technical field, data science and machine learning and AI. So I would like to know your opinion as well as maybe a statement for the people who are aspiring to become a data scientist. Saif.
I must say it is not much about technical. It is more about understanding the thing, understanding the business case, understanding what is the problem case. So if one is able to understand all these things, there is not much technical. It is very basic and technical things. Very basic coding happens there. There are some things. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes people get stuck in coding. It happens, but not much coding is required in data science. More of knowledge of different domains and all are much important, and understanding the machine learning thing is much more important. Selecting the right algorithm, selecting the correct way to implement, correct, selecting the correct hyperparameters is just what one's need to understand the thing.
Okay. Any message you want to give for the people who are aspiring or in the learning phase in the data science field?
Sure, sir. I just want to say that knowledge, the ocean of knowledge is very profound. The more deeper you dive, the more knowledge you will gain. So being consistent with your study, I will just recommend to constantly upscaling yourself, constantly learn the basic that you know, constantly go into the depth of that topic. So that is what I want to say.
Okay, that's wonderful. Now we can open up for the questions. Anyone who is either in Zoom or attending from other channels, please let me know. You can put your questions on chat box or in the Q&A section here. I request DataMites team to watch for the other channels and post it back over here. In the meantime, I have a question for you. So this is something which people ask. How do you keep yourself motivated? I mean, for us, our generation, it's not a problem. Luckily, we are not from this social media era, so we don't spend much time in social media. But for the youngsters, especially your generation, the constant problem is fighting, the urge of getting back to social media. They spend a lot of time in reels and shorts, and what is your take on it? How do you manage your time?
So basically, even I also use social media, but not that much. Even I see that there is algorithms that every social media platform follows. So what I used to do, even I'm watching social media, I used to follow some techies there. So even in my For You section, I used to get some technical questions and all. So while entertainment also, after getting 2 3 videos of entertainment, I used to get one technical questions. So in that way I handled social media. And apart from that, I think that in my case, whenever I'm in home, I get the urge of using social media more. So for that reason, I used to sit in DataMites. Even after my internship period got over, I used to go to DataMites. I used to sit there till the evening. I used to sit there and used to study there. So that is how I managed my distractions.
Okay, that's very good. Um, what I suggest, though, I mean, only the people who are going through it know it. I'm not, so I've not really experienced that phenomena firsthand. But from a psychology, as a study consumer behavior, is one of my research areas. As per the psychology, the best way to handle this is try to time box your social media consumption. Right, you can have 20 minutes in the morning, afternoon, and it is not the amount of time you spend on social media. Of course, that has to be not too much. It could be a couple of hours, so that should be okay, but not too much. But it's not the amount of time you spend on it. It is the constant distraction which is a problem. All right. So, constantly checking the statuses, so nothing going to happen in a minute or 10 minutes, right? So when your mind constantly goes back to checking the statuses and stuff, it cannot focus. There's something called as deep work, right? Your mind has several levels of learning. And if after some time it goes to a level which can actually learn and retain information. The problem with the social media, most people will not be able to go to that level where your brain can actually learn and retain because you're constantly distracted. So my suggestion, which is also a proven research, uh, which has a proven research backup, is that you time box your social media consumption. Right, you can have 30 minutes in the morning, afternoon, evening, at night, whatever it is. But in the middle, please don't look into it. Right, and that's already really helpful. So you're anyway connected. You're like 4 or 5 times connected a day, but you're not constantly connected. That helps a lot. So you can still be on social media, but not, you can reduce the damages because of that. Right. Okay, so I have 2 questions. One, how placement team helped you in your journey? Saif, from anonymous attendee.
So I must say that I myself tried uh, of searching jobs from different platforms, but didn't get a single call from there. And as soon as I went for the placement assistant of DataMites, like within a week or two, I started getting calls, and it's been like 2 months that I am into the placement assistant, and I got the job. So I think the placement assistant team helps a lot. If you have the skills, they will give you the opportunity, and it's up to you that you are able to crack that or not.
Right. So another thing I always tell, most people get placed. It's just a matter of time, right? I mean, if you give up in the middle, no one can help you. So that's not anyone can help you, not just data points, right? But as I see the market, what's more important is your persistence. And as I have said, DataMites team, placement team is dedicatedly helping with you. There are people who are assigned to you whose entire job is to get you a job. So I don't think that part they will definitely do better, and they are doing great recently.
Yes.
But from a learner's perspective, you should spend enough time on a daily basis. You should work with them. You should follow up. You should, if you fail an interview, and most important, do not get the negative thinking coming into your brain that I will not get a job. But that's the failure. Not getting a job in a few months is not a failure, because some people take a month, some people take 4 months. You might even take 6 months or maybe an year. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. When you start your journey, right, in a good company, then you go forward. So do not have this attitude of freshers don't get jobs. Oh, I'm not from technical background. I'm not a smart person. So, I don't have a good presentation, maybe looks. No one really bothers about it. What really matters is your confidence. Okay. And then never giving attitude. I have a question from Sangeeta for you. So, did DataMites help you in resume building?
Yeah, sure. I asked them, they send us some templates, and it helped me. Even after making the resume, I sent them back. There were some corrections needed, so the PAT team helped me, did some corrections, and it was ready to.
Yeah. So Plat team has, again, they have experts, and they also work with other recruiters and people to get a second review and all. They immensely help you.
Yes.
One thing I would like to add in here, whoever asking about the resume building, uh, your resume cannot be generic, which means you don't just make one resume and then drop it to every other employer, right? Like giving a pamphlets on the road. So that doesn't work, right? And because most of the time your resume first goes to your ATS, which is the application tracking system, which is the first one which shortcuts your resume. It's a machine, right? It's a program. It looks into keyword density and relevance and many other things. So you have to fine tune your resume. But luckily, we have ChatGPT again. So you don't have to worry about it. You just give your resume, you give the job description, ask ChatGPT to fine tune it. It does it. And then you can send it to DataMites placement team to have a second review, and then you can post it, or DataMites team themselves will actually share it to the employer. So here, ChatGPT really helps you. And it's not just ChatGPT, it's you should understand that one generic resume will not reach, you will not get a call by just dropping that resume for every, it doesn't matter whether you apply for 100 jobs or 1,000 jobs, right? Until it is not fine-tuned that particular job description, you will not get a call, okay? I have a question from Hari, right in this Zoom conference. I'm from science BSc background. Can I become a data scientist?
Yeah, of
Right.
course. Not. Why not? Everyone can become data scientist. Anyone having interest in data can become a data scientist.
Yeah. So, Hari, data scientist doesn't have any prior requirement. That's one great thing about the data science field. If you have passion, if you dedicate X number of hours a day for a few months, you should get enough knowledge and you can get into data science career. A question from Reshu. How many rounds of interviews there in your iQGateway? That's a company you joined, right? How many rounds?
So if I'll have to include the assessment and machine learning tasks, there were a total of 6 rounds. In the first round, they did some aptitude test, then machine learning task. Then there was one round of manager discussion, then 2 technical rounds, and the final delivery head round.
Okay, that sounds about a standard procedure. Thank you. A question from Daniel Steve. How many mock interviews did you attend? I guess he's asking about the mock interviews with DataMites. How many mock interviews you attend within DataMites?
So I attended 2 interviews.
That's about average as well. Okay, very good. So there are some questions about salary and stuff. I keep repeating this. Salary, starting salary is never a concern. I can give a ballpark. So he is getting about 6 to 8 lakhs. That's the range Saif is actually getting. But there are people who have successful before. They even got 4 to 6 lakhs bracket as well, right? It used to be 8 to 10 lakhs like 5 years ago because the number of people were less and the demand was higher. Even the freshers used to get 10 lakhs, but now it came down. Saif is slightly on the higher side, 6 to 8, but there are people who are between 4 to 6 as well as the beginners. But you have already an experience, then your salary will start from your experience with 20% hike or 30% hike. Again, early days, the hike was huge, sometimes 100%, but now it's not happening. It came down to a normal 30% hikes, which I think is always good. It's a more stable market, more matured market now. And your starting salary does not matter in this field because after 1 year, you can ask your worth because once you gain your experience, you're very valuable for many, many, many employers. So you can basically negotiate well after 1 or 2 years of experience. A question from a question from LinkedIn from Muzamil Shabat. I have a question. There is about 2 years gap now. A completed certified data scientist. Would you advise to get back to the field? I can answer that question. Of course, right? There are people who have done it and they, can discontinued the course or completed but did not pursue the placements. They send a lot of requests even to my LinkedIn. And let me tell you, many of them actually got selected and they are actually working as data scientists. A lot of people, they have reasons, family reasons. They wanted to try some entrepreneurship. They want to do some business or whatever is it, that's not a problem. You have to put extra efforts again. So it may not be 6 or 8 months for you because you have completed that. It might be a month or two. So you have to come back. And DataMites always welcomes people again. So you can onboard to the Pat assistance again. You just have to send a request. I remember your name. You can copy me. And yeah, so I would say, yeah, get back and, get into this field. I have a question from Jyoti Kumari. How to use Kaggle for a project? What is the Kaggle competition? Okay, that's a very, very big question, Jyoti. So we might want to schedule something, schedule a separate session. Because Kaggle is a platform, it's owned by Google now. Kaggle is a platform where a lot of competitions are run. And there's a lot of README kind of things in Kaggle itself. If you go there, you will find lots of documentation. Anything to add, Saif?
No, sir. I just want to add that Kaggle for beginners are the best platform to learn. Like to understand different approaches, it's the best platform.
Wonderful. So we crossed our 30 minutes mark. So 35 minutes. I hope there are no further questions. DataMites team, can you confirm any further questions? All right. So my ending note always, Sai, this is a very, very dynamic field, Saif, and I see you're very curious and passionate about the field already, the way you're approaching. You have a very good start, and always choose tough projects in this field because it's not a field where you can be comfortable, right? You have to choose projects. You might get options within your company. Sometimes you have standard clients or products you're working on, but try to get into new fields within AI. Do not stop your learning and keep on looking at the latest developments in this field. Sometimes what happens if you get into a project, you're too much into the project. So I would suggest always take some time to keep an eye on new algorithms, new advancements happening in this field, and always take a harder path so that you can learn better. And I wish you very good luck with your career with iQGateway. Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Saif,
much.
for your time.
Thank you so much.
All right, all the people on the call, thank you very much for your time. And I hope this is helpful. And if you have any further questions to either me or DataMites or Saif, you can find the LinkedIn profiles and you can drop a message. We'll be taking that. All right, have a good day. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend as well. Bye. Thank you, Saif. Yeah.
Thank you.